समझ नहीं आ रहा अपने सैलरी इंक्रीमेंट का क्या करूं।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स के एसआईपी का टॉपअप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
क्या समझ में नहीं आया?
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स का एसआईपी टॉपअप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
अब समझा।
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
Before I start this episode of Politically Correct, let me remind you that admission to the 4th batch of the Print School of Journalism is open. There are limited seats available, so if you are interested, please use the link given in the description. Now coming to this episode of Politically Correct, I am going to talk about two things. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to the RSS headquarters in Nagpur on Sunday and US President Donald Trump's plan to impose reciprocal tariff on the 2nd of April. On the eve of this deadline, White House made a statement saying how India imposes 100% tariffs on agricultural products. Trump's plan to impose a uniform global tariff that will cover all imports into the US is set to hurt India. While the two countries are still negotiating a bilateral trade agreement, Trump is going to go ahead and impose the tariffs on the 2nd of April. So how do you think PM Modi is going to react? Take it lying down or retaliate the way Canada and some other countries are threatening to do? I am in no position to pontificate on this because I don't know. But retaliation is highly unlikely given the great rapport Modi and Trump have. Between Modi's India first and Trump's America first, a middle ground has to be found bilaterally. What PM Modi would do will surely be driven by India's interests and his own belief system that's largely rooted in the economic philosophy of RSS ideologues, Deendayal Upadhyaya and Dattopant Thengadi. And that's the reason I decided to club the two. PM Modi's visit to the RSS headquarters and the impending reciprocal tariff by the US. Let me first come to his visit to Nagpur. It's the first time since he became the country's prime minister that he visited the RSS headquarters. Modi had come here twice earlier, in 2012 and 2013 when he was the Gujarat chief minister. His latest visit to the RSS headquarters on Sunday, when he also visited Diksha Bhumi where B.R. Ambedkar had embraced Buddhism, may give the opposition a reason to chant Sangham Sharanam Gacchami. Or I go to the Sangh for refuge. But there were clear signs of that right after the Haryana Assembly elections. As I noted in one of the politically correct episodes last October, shortly after RSS Sanchalak Mohan Bhagwat's Vijayadashmi speech, PM Modi had tweeted, congratulating all Swayamsevaks on the Sangh entering its 100th year and showered praise for its service to the nation. The last time PM Modi had tweeted about the Sangh's foundation day was in 2017. He also tweeted the YouTube link to Bhagwat's Vijayadashmi speech. That was a first. And the last time he had tweeted about Bhagwat was to greet him on his birthday in 2016. Only a fortnight ago, he told podcaster Lex Fridman how the RSS had given him, quote unquote, a life of purpose. Modi's visit to the RSS headquarters marks the culmination of the BJP's endeavor to put behind JP Nadda's "don't need you anymore" message to the RSS because the BJP was now capable. It cost the BJP dearly in the last Lok Sabha election. Guess what Modi and Bhagwat might have discussed during his visit? About the two of them turning 75 in September? Bhagwat on the 11th and Modi on the 17th? Unlikely. It's such a touchy subject. Bhagwat is known to believe that nobody should hold a post after turning 75. He has not revealed his plan post 11th yet. Modi was also known to hold the same view very strongly, but he had changed his mind now. Just the other day, he was telling the opposition in parliament that his government was in its third term only. So what else could Modi and Bhagwat have discussed? About the new BJP president? Nadda's extended term as president ended on the 30th of June last year. Going by the party's constitution, he is not authorized to hold the post now, technically. His 3-year tenure ended on the 20th of January 2023. One cannot blame him if Nadda hopes for the current stalemate to continue. Modi and Bhagwat could have discussed anything and everything under the sun. Just what, we would not know. One can only hope that a visit to the RSS headquarters helps Modi resolve his dilemma. A tricky choice between India's economic imperatives and his politics and ideology. It's a choice between US President Donald Trump, his great friend, and Deendayal Upadhyaya and Dattopant Thengadi, the RSS ideologues who inspired Modi's economic philosophy. These two have been the guiding forces of his governance since 2014, be it the abolition of the Planning Commission, Atmanirbhar Bharat, Swadeshi, Ayushman Bharat, fiscal conservatism, Sabka Saath Sabka Vikas, etc. etc. He did make a few digressions and adjustments here and there without letting the RSS or its affiliates interfere, but he stuck to Thengadi and Upadhyaya's broad principles. It was like Modi as the Gujarat CM driving the Hindutva agenda without letting Sangh activists steer the wheel. When I was in Gujarat to cover the assembly elections in 2007, I was surprised to find activists of the VHP and other Sangh Parivar outfits unhappy with the Modi government. Many of them had expected cases against them to be closed, while others missed the support that they hoped for from a BJP administration. It's more or less the same story about PM Modi's economic pursuit. RSS affiliated bodies like the Swadeshi Jagran Manch, the Bharatiya Mazdoor Sangh, and the Bharatiya Kisan Sangh have virtually lost their voice, even as their founder, Dattopant Thengadi, remained the source of inspiration of the Modi government. In 2020, when Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman explained that Modi's definition of a self-reliant India or Atmanirbhar Bharat did not mean looking inwards or becoming an isolationist country. She was only repeating Thengadi's idea. These organizations were more vocal, though not powerful, during the Vajpayee government. Remember how Dattopant Thengadi had said that Yashwant Sinha was not an Arth Mantri but an Anarth Mantri, not a finance minister but a disaster minister. In 2001, Thengadi called Sinha a criminal for pursuing the reforms agenda. Interestingly, it was then BJP General Secretary Narendra Modi who, at Vajpayee's and Advani's behest, issued a press statement disapproving of Thengadi's diatribe against Sinha. 13 years later, when the BJP returned to power, Yashwant Sinha found no place in the Modi cabinet. Thengadi was said to have influenced Modi deeply in his formative years. In 1979, he reportedly assigned Modi the task of researching the RSS's role during the emergency, which gave Modi an opportunity to spend more time in Delhi and interact with key leaders. Modi's economic and social welfare philosophy is deeply rooted and inspired by Thengadi and Upadhyaya. This is where Trump has posed a big dilemma, rather a crisis for PM Modi. While he calls Modi a great friend, he minces no words in questioning India's brutal tariffs, as he calls. As the Print's editor-in-chief Shekhar Gupta wrote on Saturday, 10 years of Make in India has done little for manufacturing on exports. He argued that Trump holding a gun to our heads over tariffs could be the best thing yet. A drastic reduction in tariff protection will force entrepreneurial India to become competitive again. I reckon Modi could not agree more if it were just about India's economy. He has already sought to mollify Trump, reducing import duties on Harley-Davidson bikes and bourbon whiskey, and rolling back the so-called Google tax. The government looks ready to go a little further to meet Trump's expectations, but Modi would be concerned about the political fallout of going too far in that direction. His global stature and India's stature as Vishguru under his leadership have been one of the BJP's central electoral planks. The Vishguru image is also critical to Modi's public persona. He cannot afford to be seen as being pushed around or bullied into submission by any other country's leader, friend or adversary. The pictures of Indians deported from the US like criminals in shackles have already created an unease among Modi fans. Not because they did not deserve to be deported or treated like the way they were, but because Modi's India cannot imagine any country treating Indians like this when he is at the helm. Weeks after the Galwan Valley clashes in 2020, I was traveling in Bihar trying to see if it would have any electoral fallout. The impression I got from my interactions with the people was that China was cowering in fear and that it should have learnt lessons from what Modi did to Pakistan. Well, PM Modi cannot let Trump's words and actions dent this public image. Politics aside, agreeing to Trump's demands would mean a repudiation of what Dattopant Thengadi stood for. In a chapter titled Swadeshi, the practical manifestation of patriotism, in his book Third Way, Thengadi says that the Swadeshi spirit inspired the British to restrain their head of state from purchasing a German Mercedes car for her personal use. Imagine what Thengadi's followers in the RSS may be thinking about the concessions to Harley Davidson or bourbon whiskey today. As I am given to understand, the RSS is not really bothered much about these concessions to high-end products bought by a small group of people here, but the Sangh is very concerned about what the US has to say about tariffs on agriculture products. In his book, Thengadi offers another example. When the US forced Japan to give market access to its Californian oranges, Japanese customers did not purchase a single Californian orange, and thus, as Thengadi says, quote unquote, rendered the American arm twisting a ridiculous affair. Thengadi wrote that while the increased dose of protectionism formed the core of the US state intervention in earlier years, seeking increased market access to US products by compelling its partner countries to change their policies and become more open has been the present line of the US policy. Remember, this book was first published in 1998. Thengadi said that the US is subsidizing heavily its farm sector while demanding that other countries should withdraw all subsidies to that sector. The US is following double standards in the pharmaceutical sector also, he said. Dattopant Thengadi and other RSS ideologues provided the foundation of PM Modi's economic philosophy. Trump is trying to tear it down. He is unwittingly forcing his great friend to carry out much needed transformative changes in the Indian economy to make its business and industry globally competitive and truly Atmanirbhar. How PM Modi will reconcile it with his politics and ideology is a moot question. That's all from me in this episode of Politically Correct. Thanks for watching.